Good afternoon, class 12 children. Today we will be starting with chapter 2 in biology, and the chapter 2 is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. You see, children, that in video 5 that we had studied yesterday, we studied regarding fertilization and syngamy and the differences between external and internal fertilization. We studied about post-fertilization events. We had studied about embryogenesis, sexuality in plants, and we studied about sexuality in higher animals and lower animals, and the oestrus and the menstrual cycle. Today in video 1 of chapter 2, we begin to look at sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Flowering plants are angiosperms, where sex organs are carried within the flowers and the seeds are enclosed in a fruit. The angiosperms, they dominate all other plants as they have a unique method of reproducing sexually. The flowers play essential role in the life cycle of angiosperms as they have both male and female gametes. The two phases in the life cycle of angiosperms are diploid, sporophytic phase, or having 2n number of chromosomes, and the haploid or gametophytic phase having n number of chromosomes. There is a regular alternation of generation between these two phases. So children, if you look here in this figure, we see there is a sporophytic phase and there is a gametophytic phase. Both the phases are seen here, and we see in both the phases, in the sporophytic phase, we see that the zygote which is formed, the embryo is 2n. The seed is also here a diploid seed, and we see that the sporophyte, the main plant body, it has got flowers which are 2n, and in this we see that again through meiosis this turns into haploid gametophytic phase, and here the microspore from the anther and the megaspore from the ovule, these are formed, and these are haploid, which happens through meiosis division. And then we see this gametophytic phase, which is a haploid phase. This happens, and then we see again the female gamete and the male gamete, they fuse together. This is called fertilization, and then the zygote is formed. So we see that there is a regular alternation of generations between these two phases, children. Then we see, children, the flower here very clearly, a fascinating organ of the angiosperms. The flowers are most beautiful manifestations of the biological diversity in our planet. The flower is considered as a compressed shoot. This flower is considered as a compressed shoot in which sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels are successive lateral organs. So these four that are there, four worlds which are found, the sepals, the petals, and the stamens and the carpel are successive lateral organs of the shoot. All the flowers, they have the same basic plan. And a typical flower has got 4 set of appendages called whorls arranged on the swollen end of the stalk or the pedicel called thalamus or receptacle. Now we see that the four whorls are calyx, corolla, androecium and the gynoecium. The outer two sets, the calyx and the corolla, are known as accessory whorls, and the inner two sets, androecium and gynoecium, as essential whorls. The accessory organs are sepals, which together form the calyx, and the petals, which make up the corolla. So the calyx and the corolla are there. Now these are accessory organs. These are not the essential ones. When in monocotyledons, calyx and corolla are undifferentiated, and then the term perianth is used. When the calyx and the corolla, they cannot be differentiated from each other, then the term perianth is used for them, and collectively for them, and the individual members are called tepals. So these members here, the calyx and the corolla, they would be given the name tepals. We see that the sepals here are green leaf-like structures. These sepals, which can be seen here, are green leaf-like structures, and which protect the inner floral appendages of the flower. The petals are generally large, they are elaborate, and these are brightly colored structures which help in attracting even insects for pollination. Then we see that the essential organs of the flower are the stamens, which are the microsporophylls, which make up the androecium. These make up the androecium. And the carpels or the pistils or the megasporophylls, which together form the gynoecium, children. We see the androecium consists of one or more stamens. The male reproductive structures of the flower. The stamen is typically a slender organ and consists of two or more less distinct parts. A proximal sterile part, the filament, it has got a proximal sterile part called the filament, and the distal fertile part known as the anther, that you can see here where I am pointing with the pointer. The anther usually consists of 4 microsporangia, which contain numerous pollen grains or microspores. The strip of tissue that lies between a pair of sporangia is known as the connective tissue. So we see that the sporangia, they are connected together by the connective tissue. Then we see the gynoecium is made up of one monocarpellary or more carpels, which is multicarpellary, is the female reproductive organ of the flower. The carpel is divided into a proximal ovule, which you can see here, a bearing part, the ovary, is distal pollen receptive part. So the male gamete is received by the ovary. The stigma, and then comes here the stigma. Stigma, and the median sterile part is known as the style, children. The ovary has one or more chambers known as the locules. The region where ovules are attached is usually more or less enlarged and is said to be placenta. The pattern of ovules arrangement in the ovary is called placenta. After fertilization, ovules develop into seeds and the ovary matures into a fruit. Then we see there are types of flowers. There are different types of flowers which we will study. We have complete and incomplete flowers, children. Complete flowers are those flowers which are having all the four whorls. Example, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. These are known as the complete flowers. Then the incomplete flowers are those flowers in which one or more of the whorls are missing in a flower. Then it is said to be incomplete. And what is neuter? When both essential whorls are absent, then the flower is known as a neuter flower. Let us see perfect and imperfect flowers. The flowers are said to be bisexual or perfect when they have both androecium and gynoecium, and unisexual or imperfect when they have either androecium or gynoecium. The unisexual flowers having only stamens are known as the staminate flowers or the male flowers, and only carpels or pistillate are known as the female flowers. When both staminate and pistillate flowers are borne on the same flower, then the condition is known to be monoecious. Whereas when the staminate and pistillate flowers are present on different plants, then the condition is said to be dioecious, children. Then we see when both bisexual and unisexual flowers are present on a plant, the condition is known as polygamous. Then let us see the relative position of floral parts on the thalamus. The first one is hypogynous position. Here we see that the flower is hypogynous if the sepals, the petals and the stamens, they are inserted below the ovary. When they are inserted below the ovary, we see the ovary is superior and rest of the floral organs are inferior. Example in brassica or mustard. Then we see in perigynous condition like in rose, strawberry or peach, etc., the thalamus forms a cup shaped structure around the ovary and sepals, petals, stamens. They appear to be inserted on the rim of the cup. Flowers are said to be perigynous and the ovary semi-inferior. Then we see the third condition is epigynous. When thalamus completely encloses the ovary and fuses with ovary wall, then we see that the sepals, petals, stamens, these will rise above the ovary. The ovary is here, they rise above the ovary. The flower is known to be epigynous and the ovary which is below the sepals and petals and stamens is known as the inferior ovary. So this is the epigynous flower. So children, we have studied up till here. In this video, we will continue with the second chapter in the next video. So thank you, wish you all the best. Have a good day.